Thank you very much, Hugo. Let me start off first by just recognizing our hosts. That is the Embassy of Zimbabwe. Thank you very much, our Charge d'Affaires, Comrade Gwenzi, who is here with his team, Comrade Piri and everyone else. Mr. Kapesa, the chairman of ZIDO, Honorable Ministers of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for our provinces, Permanent Secretary for Mashonaland West Province, Comrade Jaji is here, and of course my good brother Kenny Sharp, and all the other dignitaries and other businessmen who have come through. Just as an icebreaker, I think one of the things that we have tried to do very well in the office of the president is we have managed to get rid of economic propaganda, where basically you put on the music, you dance, and you judge yourself. So what we are now doing is we allow live testimonies of companies, businessmen who have taken heed of the call that Zimbabwe is open for business, and they've gone home or they've taken advantage of that. And what you saw today is not AI. This is happening in Zimbabwe. And to those, some who might not know, Zimbabwe has got the fastest growing industrial area within the SADC region currently. We are growing at a fast pace, and we're having realized so many significant investments. So Ken Sharp, thank you very much for choosing not to drive around in 6-door Rolls Royces, but to come and invest your money where it means a lot. And this is where we get it wrong, that sometimes we're speaking about the young man at the back, that sometimes, I don't know, maybe Zimbabweans, because you are sometimes, well, too educated. We have to start from somewhere. A normal 3-bedroomed house in Zimbabwe, in Kwadza or anywhere else, goes for $20,000 US, which is just under 400,000 rands. At a saving ratio of 3,000 rands a month, within a space of 8 years, within a space of 7 years, you would have paid off for a house which is sitting on 400 square meters. So sometimes it's not about you going for the top tier, but starting somewhere. Ken told you where he started, with one of the most moderate businesses, houses, and now he's somewhere. My presentation today, I'm not going to dwell a lot into the significance of PowerPoints, death by PowerPoint, but I want to set the pace and the tone for what we are going to discuss. And I'm going to ask the organizers if it's possible that our colleagues and comrades within the stands can try and lower their volume. As you know, we've got thousands who are watching this broadcast from all over the world, Zimbabweans in the diaspora and everywhere. And I think it's a bit unfair that they won't be able to hear the presentations, and yet they're taking their data and their time to just hear us. So those in the stands, if you can hear us, particularly on the east side or the west side, please can you lower it down? If Mr. Kapesa, you can arrange that for us. Thank you very much. In terms of devolution, what we have seen in Zimbabwe since the coming of the second dispensation is that we've reiterated that we have to work according to the constitutional decree, that Zimbabwe is actually significantly clustered into 3 main tiers of government. Just like South Africa, where you've got the first tier of government being central government, next slide please, being the first tier of government, and the next tier being the provincial government. We've found that we have a similar situation within our constitution. Chapter 14 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe mandates that we have 3 tiers of government. And those 3 tiers of government are central government, we've got provincial government, and we've got local government. So what we've seen is that over the last few years, we have appointed, here in South Africa they are called premiers, in Zimbabwe they are called ministers of state. So the Honorable Minister who just spoke is the premier, if you want to put it that way in South African context, of one of our provinces called Mashonaland Central. I thought I would just make that clear, because you would then be wondering, what is a minister of state? So in Zimbabwe, we don't call them governors, we don't call them premiers, we call them ministers of state for provincial affairs and devolution. And really the role of each tier of government is to ensure that we progressively deliver services right to the people, and to give a mandate to the people to make their own decisions. So devolution in context, next slide, is simply allowing a top-down approach, being able that we listen to all tiers of government, being able to listen even to the people within the villages, so that we can be able to deliver the services that we want. I'm going to digress a lot more from my presentation to the comrade who's controlling the slides, so don't worry if I'm speaking things that you're not seeing there. One of the things that we want to really drive home is that as Presidential Affairs in the Office of the President, being a special branch within the Office of the President, our mandate is to really make sure that you diasporans, when you do come to Zimbabwe, we have removed the red tape. Having stayed myself in South Africa for 14 years, and as a businessman, I found it very difficult to break through to Zimbabwean standards at that time because of red tape and bureaucracy. And it was my wish to the Almighty that when one day I'm in an influential position, we want to make sure that we make it easy. So I'm happy to say that when Zido came to our offices saying that this is what we want to do, we grabbed the opportunity with both hands and we quickly did our due diligence, clustered all the things that we want to do, and I'm glad to say that we are now signing an MOU with Zido, which is the Zimbabweans in the diaspora, and so that no matter where they are in the world, if they want the Office of the President to facilitate and to assist, we are there for you. So Zido, well done in becoming the first recognized diasporan organization that we're going to work with all over the world. One of the things that I've been asked to talk about is the provincial economic development. So gone are the days where right now Zimbabwe is sitting on a $43 billion GDP, the fastest growing GDP in the SADC region and Eastern Africa side. Guess what? It's Zimbabwe. And that $43 billion GDP is actually only of the 25% of the fiscal economy, the formalized economy that we're operating with. Largely because in Zimbabwe, 75% of most of the businesses have been operating on an informal base, and government is seized with the agenda to ensure that we provide the right facilities for most of our Zimbabwean colleagues in business to operate in the right environments. So what we've done is from 2020 to 2018, as a government, we came across with a 12-year plan, which is going to lead us to 2030. The first 2018 to 2020, we focused on economic stabilization, macroeconomic stability, and of course, it was austerity for prosperity. And we found ourselves in a space where we just wanted to make sure that we significantly reduce the cost of doing business for government. So at the height of inflation, Zimbabwe was well about 90% of everything that we collected for taxes was meant to maintain the upkeep of government. I'm happy to say that we've reduced that significantly to below 40% in only a space of 5 years, where government is significantly cutting down its expenditure. What we've done as well with NDS 1 and NDS 2, we've planned that every province now has a provincial economic development plan. So you're not walking into a province, you're not walking into a country where basically nothing has been conceptualized and has been made bankable. So all the ministers of state that you shall hear today speaking, everything they are telling you is part of their 5-year plan. In Zimbabwe as well, we had a large cry from the citizens that most of our government officials would spend time sitting in the offices and really not giving value for what they were earning. I'm happy to say that the president has made sure that everyone who's a government official now has an performance contract. So even I have a performance contract, the honorable ministers that you see here all have a performance contract, which is publicly available to track and audit what we are doing. So every province is now going to be driving their own provincial GDP, meaning that we are taking each province as a little country on its own, and we are now asking the tough questions. What have you produced? How many jobs have you created? How many investors have you brought through? So when you hear the honorable ministers saying, please come, the only thing they're not doing is going on their knees to really beg you to come, because they will be audited on that to say how many diasporans came back and are actually working with you. So I would like to encourage you that throughout this facilitation, even in the networking session, even when the question and answer, please feel free to ask the honorable ministers. Now, many have been asking us as the diasporans, how can we get involved? The first thing that I want to demystify is that we are not paying any attention as the Office of the President of the Government of Zimbabwe to social media rhetoric. The reason why I say that is you should not be discouraged as a Zimbabwean or any African to come invest in your own continent. Because those opportunities, land is no longer being manufactured by the Lord Almighty. At some point, these opportunities are going to go. And the nice thing about it is that other people from other continents are seeing greater opportunities than our own sons and daughters of the soil. So when you know and you hear people saying, oh, Zimbabwean roads are bad, that's an opportunity for you to come and invest in roads. When you hear that electricity is going, don't laugh and don't ridicule your own continent. That's an opportunity for renewable energy to come through. When you hear that we are now having problems of medication, that's an opportunity for you to find doctors who are willing to come and open clinics in your respective countries, and especially this notion in Zimbabwe. So we are very open to triple Ps, and government is very open to minority shareholding. A good example is anyone who wants to invest in a joint venture with government. Government is only taking 26% shareholding. We now have a 74-26 shareholding structure with some of our government departments, and you are more than willing to come through and partner with us. We also know that exposure is the greatest ability for you to translate vision into action. So those of you who have stayed here longer, learned of the great things that are being done well by our brothers and sisters in South Africa, we are also open to signing MOUs with you for consultancy services. So if you want to consult with us, with government, to help us learn about things that we do not know, areas that we can improve, our doors are open. I'll end with this about changing the narrative. The reality is that we are a country which is still under economic sanctions. There's so much that we wish we could do, but the days of excuses are gone. So we are now asking you to take those sanctions as a blessing in disguise. It is an opportunity for us to develop our country with no debt. And I'm happy to say that in the last 5 years, we have roped in over $80 billion of Zimbabwean government money that we have used from the taxes. We are building roads, all the infrastructure that you're seeing is debt-free. And one of the things which is fundamentally important about rewriting the narrative is that government offices are not dungeons, neither are they fire pits. Those doors are open. Don't do your research on social media. Contact the respective government departments and get information firsthand. And to our friends who make a living from denigrating Zimbabwe, one of the things that is missing across the African continent is the sovereign discipline of our children. Sovereign discipline entails that every citizen should know the do's and don'ts of your country. Just like mothers and fathers in your houses, you know the do's and don'ts of your children. So we are not going to tolerate Zimbabweans without sovereign discipline coming back home. We don't want people to inherit bad habits. We want people to come with good habits. And want people to come back with success stories. We're not saying leave South Africa, no. We're saying that remember home. Remember where you came from. Remember what you were taught growing up. So this habit of having Zimbabweans who are committing crimes in South Africa, those days are gone because we have signed treaties now that if you are naughty here, we are going to bring you back home. Chikurubi is extending, and we have ample space for you there. And I think it's important that we all know that sovereign discipline is very important. Fiscal discipline is also important. As a Zimbabwean government, we are learning every day. What we promise the people in the budgets, it's what needs to be done. Fiscal equalization is something new. The Marange story of diamonds coming out and people still having Blair toilets is an embarrassment across Africa. And we've learned from that. Now we are moving to make sure that every district which has any kind of mineral, they should also own shareholding in their own projects so that they use that money to develop the economies of their districts and their provinces. The 2Ps philosophy is well engraved in us in Zimbabwe now. And those 2Ps are product or payslip. So gone are the days where, and I used to have this when I was appointed by the president, I would have phone calls, comrade, can we have some deals? Those days are gone. Either you have a payslip or you have a product. That's the new Zimbabwe that we have. So don't be dismayed about the people who are donating free bicycles on social media and whatever. Don't be dismayed about people taking pictures every day. They don't go to work. They just have Zimbabwe is good for deals. Those are all lies. We are coming after them. We are cleansing corruption in Zimbabwe, and we want it to be an environment which is conducive for investment. And that's a promise that we can give you. The other thing which is very important for you to appreciate, please don't be lied to. It is not the duty of government to create jobs. The duty of government is to create a conducive environment for you, the business people, to be able to create jobs. So when we lower the taxes, when we remove corruption, when we stop smuggling, all the business that you want to do becomes profitable. And that's what we are yearning for. So if anyone is asking you how many jobs has President E.D. Mnangagwa created, please remind them that our job and the job of the president is to make sure we have a solid and capable economy for you to be able to do well. So let's ignore the noise. Let's walk and march towards prosperity. And please know that the provincial economic development agenda is ripe and ready and is waiting for you to come to Zimbabwe and do business with us. Please make sure that by the time you leave this expo, and to all those who are watching on social media and across all internet channels, make sure that you trace your roots. I always tell people wherever I go, every Zimbabwean belongs to a certain village. So start from there. Go Kumusha Ekaya. Go there. Start a chicken project. Start a hospital. Start wherever you can. Because in Zimbabwe, the land in the rural areas is free and it's waiting for you to invest. May God bless you and encourage you to continue looking towards where the sun is rising. Zimbabwe, your home of choice. Thank you.
Engineer Muguti, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to take a couple of questions before we get to our next panel of speakers. Now remember, it's not every day that you get the Honourable Minister and Engineer Muguti here present. So if you have a few questions you'd like to ask, please feel free to do so. Can we get some mics on the floor, please? There's a gentleman in the green sweater. I think his hand was first to go up. And there's a gentleman in the grey jacket. We'll take those two questions.
Good afternoon or good morning, people. Good morning, Honorable Minister. It's good to be with you here, and we want to welcome you back, since you said you have been here in South Africa for quite a few years. And what we, the way we are staying here in South Africa, you already know because you have been here. But my main concern is the moment we cross Bait Bridge, especially us, the legal, illegal, same people, we sort of feel quite hostility, especially from the border as you are back into our country. We are treated as if we are second-class citizens, and obviously here we are foreigners. Or obviously we are treated as foreigners. But would you be, I am so proud because you are sort of, I see Diaspora organization. Can we be at least very free when we come back home, especially from the border going into our areas? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that's a question that you have asked from the bottom of your heart. Let me speak this way. You did not burn your village when you came to South Africa. Home is home. And what we have tried to do is to try and declassify or demystify some of the challenges that we have seen. I'll give an example. One of the fundamental mistakes that we do is we confuse empowerment, enforcement with hostility. If there's anything that we have vowed to do, especially my generation of leaders, if you can see we're all young here, is to ensure that the first thing that we want to do is to defend our economy. Wars are started globally because of people protecting their economy. I'll give you an instance of the most controversial thing which happened in December, where you'd find we said no to smuggling. It's because currently, each time we had brothers and sisters here coming home, they forgot that here when they bought the rices and everything else, they paid tax which stayed in South Africa. But when they came to Zimbabwe, they would like to smuggle those things through. And guess what? The companies which make the same products there were closing. For the first time, when we tried this in December, just over the Christmas period, the Zimbabwean government collected over $20 million over Christmas period on duties and levies, which ordinarily we were not collecting. And for the first time, because we stopped smuggling, the rate, both the bank and paro rate, did not move until now. So that shows you that some of the policies are not being hostile, but we are creating that. So comrade, when you come home, you don't smuggle, you'll find us smiling and smiling and smiling and welcoming you. But what is most important for you to understand is that we need to remove the narrative that you are a foreigner in South Africa. You're an African continent. The same way we treat other Africans when they come to Zimbabwe. But at the same time, we are improving every single day. Those who are in Zimbabwe, I think they've seen me almost on a weekly basis. I'm providing lectures and my team to all the to the security services. Yeah, gone are the days where we enforce by having scary faces. The first thing that we need to do is be hospitable. Be at the airport, be at a roadblock, be at a church, wherever we are. Zimbabweans are generally nice people. So I'm sorry if you have gone through any of the bad ornament, but you are going to be finding that things are changing, and things are changing indeed. So I promise you that that is a thing of the past.
Engineer, thank you very much. There was the gentleman in the grey jacket, in the grey blazer. Please come, excuse me, can we give the gentleman and then come over here to the lady in the white blouse?
Good day, everyone. My name is Oscar. My surname is Mola. I got two companies that I represent. I born here and raised in South Africa. During the course of the week, I was in Zimbabwe attending European Union Investment Conference, where I've been taking tower to Karo, visit Karo Platinum Mine. My question was that regarding me, I'm interested also to do business also with Zimbabwe and other African countries. I'm a person who travel. I traveled even to go to West Africa to do cocoa businesses there. My question was that how can we policies in SADC region be flexible for African partners to do business with each other? Like if I'm in South Africa, we want to do a business to Zimbabwe, can also be so difficult, even when maybe to get the importing even the product from Zimbabwe to come to South Africa must not be difficult. The policies reduces the red tapes. Also to make a easy way of a payment, the payment system, easy way of payment, because sometimes it is things of a forex, waiting for the forex. You have to wait for getting trade with the dollars. You have to get the dollars. If dollars are not there, it's difficult to do trade with another business, like a trade with a ZAR. If I go to Zambia to trade with ZAR, it get difficult. They want a dollar to forex exchange currency. Can we make it easier? Can we make it easier for African countries to do business with one another?
All right, I think we've gotten the gist of that question. I'm going to take one more question before you respond, Engineer, so that we get to it. Ma'am, if you want to ask your question, please.
Thank you for that. I'm Dorian Sitole from the Zim SA Business Chamber, and just hearing what he's asking, we become the conduit that makes it easy to connect business people and investors from here into Zimbabwe. So we work a lot so we can talk. But when you presented, I heard you mention the drop in shareholding to 26%. But you then mentioned that provinces also take shareholding. Is it over and above? I'm asking because we get such questions from potential investors who come to us.
Okay. So first and foremost, I'll answer your question, then I'll finish with a comrade from here in Joburg. So one of the things that Zimbabwe has done is that we have taken all the state-owned enterprises, all the parastatals, and we've created now the biggest balance sheet in the country through the Sovereign Wealth Fund. So through the Sovereign Wealth Fund, all those parastatal state-owned companies, any parastatal government arm which declares a profit is now a private limited company under the Sovereign Wealth Fund in line with the all global trends. And so each of those companies are now mandated to go and partner. So for example, we have default and MPC in mining, just like how we have ZMDC. So at that level, you are partnering directly. So if your company in South Africa wants to come and go into chrome mining, we are now associating you with default, for example, because government has taken all its mining claims and put it under any of those three mining companies. So the 26% is government taking in place. What we've done on the back of that now is that we now create a structure which we are calling the Community Share Ownership Trust. And within the Community Share Ownership Trust, for example, PPC, cement making company in Matabeleland North, PPC right now gives 1.5% of its annual turnover, profit that would have done to the local community. And they are using it now to do community projects, repair bridges and other things which government in sometimes is inundated with, but we need more assistance. So it's actually flexible. We are not saying on top of that and etc. So this whole, in the past, indigenization, we're quite flexible and we can work together. Coming to my brother there, just to conclude, is that one of the things that you have to understand is that Africa is already waiting for brothers and sisters of the African continent, despite race, to work together. I'll give you a good example. We do not have any BE in Zimbabwe. We do not have any BE. We don't have any classification. And I understand the history of South Africa. But when you come to Zimbabwe, it's your product which is competing on the market. Disregard gender, disregard if the business is owned by a woman or by youth, it talks for itself in the market. And that's what we are encouraging, that when we do that, we are open to global business. In terms of payments, I can tell you right now, Implats, which is a South African company, is one of the leading platinum mining companies on the continent. And guess what? Implats makes more money in Zimbabwe than it does in South Africa from its mines. And we've given them all the resources that we can. And they have a huge balance sheet and a huge responsibility, but they've done well in investing in Gezi. So what we want to see is a situation where let's come through the front door. Let's engage. Because sometimes doing business on the streets does not mean sometimes you're doing it right. We want anything that is going to be imported from South Africa to come through the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, like what all other companies, Coca-Cola and them, are doing. And they've sustained themselves for over 50 years in that market. And when you are also bringing something from Zimbabwe, come through Standard Bank, come through Nedbank, wherever it is. It is only when we cut corners and then we still expect the formal result that we have challenges. But otherwise, Zimbabwe is open for business, and thank you for all the questions that you fielded. I will be available to answer any question, be it controversial or be it spiritual. I'm here. Thank you very much.
Engineer Muguti, thank you very much. Honourable Minister, thank you too. Honourable Muguti, thank you very much. Minister, I would also like to thank you for your time. Gentlemen, I'm quite happy for you to take your seats. Thank you very much.